Your haters hate how much they love you. Legitimately, even your haters love you. And that is the weirdest thing ever. That's why you always feel so confused by people, because people will actively be upset with you and jealous or envious or whatever, but they will be smiling in your face. There's this thing that happens with you where, pardon me, I got cold here all of a sudden. You will literally just be receiving the love that you deserve to receive. And people will look over and be like, well, how come I'm not getting that kind of love? You have finally stepped into a version of yourself where you are no longer constantly humbling yourself. You were someone who was naturally good at things, who was naturally somebody that people were attracted to, even though you're a little different looking. mm. Why is that? I feel like I'm like wheezing and like coughing in my throat. So maybe that's something that's going on with you. Maybe you have some lung stuff. Maybe you just got over some lung stuff. Whatever. Like, just get rid of that. Cough it out. Lung tea. But you've always been somebody who's good at stuff, who people naturally just want to be around. And maybe it's because you're so different looking. But golly, golly. So yesterday I got this huge download. My and it went through my dreams, woke me up, all of that. There were so many things going on. And so, hi, happy day. Thank you for visiting my channel. We're 2 minutes in. Um, there was something so massive that you realized about yourself recently. There was something so huge that you saw about yourself. And it's because you've been loving yourself. It's because you've been seeing your inner light. But it's like, it may not even feel real yet. It was like a bit of an aha moment, but maybe it didn't come with that energy right away, because you kind of realized what that meant, what this big thing about yourself meant. Speak it, speak it, speak more. What does this thing mean? What does the thing that you found out about yourself mean? Is that you're a chosen one. You're it seems so much like, oh my gosh, you're a chosen one, and now I have to save the world. But it's like, you have to just save your world. You know what I'm saying? Maybe not, but maybe you do. It's so important for you to save your world, and that's by being around people who actually appreciate you, being around people who actually like you. Um, Competition is not friendship, and because you are somebody who is very in tune, you always know when people are in competition with you. You do. Um, and there's been a lot of times where you have been letting people lie to you and letting people just be in their ego and be in their dream state, because you know it's hard to wake people up anyway. And whenever you're doing that, it has been something that is a little bit easier for you to just focus on your waking world, right? And you may have been noticing the people around you. Some people are rising with you because they are happy to be influenced by you, or to hear you and understand you. Even if they don't understand you, they understand that they can't understand you, because how can they understand you when you don't understand you? Like, truly, you are a type of soul, like, oh, you are such an unusual soul. That's what I want to say. You're just so, you're like a disruptor. Um, and so you show people, like, through the mirror of your reflection of themselves, but you're showing them the most quirky side of themselves. And maybe you need a breath of fresh air. That might be not easy for you right now. That might be something that you're looking for. Because really, so far you're always the breath of fresh air for people. But when you hang out with them, it feels like you're kind of getting weighed down. And it's like you may not even realize it because it's always been that way with almost all of your relationships. Um, and that's not their fault. It's your fault. And you know that because, like, it's a self sabotage. It's like finally you understand what self sabotaging is, and you haven't been like, whenever you say to yourself, "Oh, it's my fault." It's not like, "Oh my God, it's my fault. I'm so sorry." It's like, "Oh yeah, I get that. I observed that, and now I see the pattern, and I'll do my. And if I am able to break it next time, awesome. If I'm not, it would be nice if I'm able to recognize it again." It's not like you're beating yourself up about the things that make you human. You're just a human. You're just a person living as a person who has emotions, who has hormones, who has um, trouble with certain foods, who may sometimes get diarrhea and or constipation. You're just a human living a human life. But it's also the people in your life put you on such a pedestal, and you may not realize and you may not realize it's because they all see you as that high vibrations mystic being, so high vibration that they can never reach that. That's not for them. That's for you. Wow, she knows everything. And so if you ever like have a misstep or whatever, then it's not really something that, even whenever you apologize for, it's like people really like to grasp on it harder because it's something that they need to remind themselves that you're imperfect. And you're like, yeah, duh. I've been telling you that the whole time. But because you have so many answers, people think that you have all the answers, even though you're constantly telling them, I don't have all the answers. The only reason why I know this is because I've been through this. And then they'll be like, you must just be some type of, you're a witch, you're a demon. You know too much. Even, I don't know why that came out. I actually wrote a lot of this stuff down. But I was planning on reading it, and then I started rambling. But I'm just gonna read it to make sure I don't miss anything. You have hidden how good you are at things because it has led to harm via jealous and envy. You dim your light for your safety. You no longer, but I spelled no like in a K N O W. Longer have to hide how amazing you are. You are the type that dimmed your light because when you saw someone's pain of feeling less than, because you are a truly gifted or naturally gifted empath, their pain hurt you. So truly, I'm gonna stop right there. That's like literally a big reason like why you started dimming your light. Like so, whenever you were a kid or something, they say you did something, and you saw other kids be like, "Oh, well, I can't do that," and that really hurt your feelings because you were feeling their feelings of sadness. So you felt genuine sadness for you being loved on. And even now, when it comes to compliments or insults, it's like they have now become equal. Like people will tell you stuff, and there's a certain way you're supposed to respond to compliments and whatnot, but it's also like, yes. But like it's almost like your opinion of yourself matters more than what everybody else is saying. Because some people, they're like, oh, you're amazing 100%. I'm like, no, babe. I dressed up to be amazing today. I promise you. Like, actively, I'm choosing to be mediocre. Okay? I'm not expending my money for no reason. And energy is money. Like, your own money of life and time and energy, like, we cannot get that back. We cannot change that stuff. But it's just not possible. Like, if you're out there talking to people all day and everybody's just giving you the middle finger, that energy, you're gonna feel that energy. And like, the word energy is such a buzzword. It's like vibes and so obtuse and abstract. But every human being is already gifted this way. They already know what it's like. Just every human being may respond differently to it. So, everyone has feelings. You'll notice that these people, if you look through their lifetime, lots of people start off with having really big feelings, right? And then that changes. Some people who are like naturally just no big feelings or just no big feelings the whole time. They're usually pretty chill, even though they're feeling so much inside. Sometimes their demeanor doesn't show that. Sometimes people feel so much inside they can't move their body. I don't know why that's coming up. You may freeze. Sometimes you might freeze. Yeah, that might be something that's hard for you. Is that you get stuck. Next, spiritual protection and hygiene. This could mean a lot of things. This could be, praying to God. This could be, or universe, or whatever you need to call it. Speaking with archangels. Because, like when it comes to whatever's going on in your life, it's about how things resonate with you. It's about how things make sense for your story, for your world. And a lot of times people tell you, this is what it's supposed to be, this is what it's supposed to be, this is what it's supposed to be. And sometimes you're going to feel like it's supposed to be something. And then you're going to be like years later, like, oh, that wasn't right. And they're going to try again. You're going to try again. You're going to try again. You're always going to be like, oh, that didn't quite fit. And then one day you're going to find the thing that fits. And then all of the other things that you felt were wrong all along end up being the knowledge of how you got to know what was right. And you are no longer afraid of testing to see what fails. You're like, it's like walking around in the dark and you know there's a door. So you're just touching the wall until you find the door. But it's little by little. It's little by little. Because you don't want to run into anything. But you're willing. You're willing to touch on it. When it comes to spiritual protection, the spirit dwells in the body. The mind is part of that protection. The winds of the mind. Because when we look at the word wind and the word mind, M is just an upside down W, or W is just an upside down M. You know what I'm saying? The mind wind often blows things in certain directions and blows things out of proportion, and it blows sometimes. And part of your spiritual hygiene is cleaning up that wind. Sometimes it's like, okay, can we stop the wind first? You want to change it into a certain direction. Why is it so constant? But some people, you may have a lot of air in your chart or something. Some people truly have so much air. And that makes it very difficult for whenever you have so much air that is actively attacking your guardians of the inside of you, if that makes any sense. Like, imagine your spirit is a king in a castle or a queen in a castle. I don't give a shit. I ain't living in no fucking castle. I ain't got no royalty. But you're there. This is your kingdom. This is your palace of your temple, of your everything that you rule is right here in your vessel. Like the things that you actually have control over and actually have rule over. And you have discovered how to run that. It's not what you expected. But by maintaining being true to yourself, that will be spiritual hygiene. It would be spiritual protection as well. Reminding yourself that you are on your divine path, and that includes failures. That includes like road bump sometimes, or road bump. But it includes you kind of running into the wall a little bit, or trying something and failing. That is all a part of the experience points for your character building. It's all included. And you can't not, you do your best, and it's actually an additional amount of energy to push away your accomplishments. But you're used to expending that energy. You're used to expending that currency of, that's the current of the water. It goes that way. Oh, I'm good at stuff, but I'm just going to throw that away. Because if you're good at it, it could hurt you. Somebody's going to get mad at you. And especially if you are a female, most likely you are gorgeous. Most likely you are just like so beautiful in a way that people cannot figure out why they just have to look at you. But even if you're, honestly, if you're male too, like honestly, it's something either in your eyes or that, I know for a fact, the collective of people who come this way. I have seen all of them. I say all of them. Every single one of them that I have seen, all of them have been already like this objectively good-looking people with an aura to them. And whenever you're moving through the world like that, and everybody's looking at you, and they'll keep like, they just can't help it. They just can't help it. And you're like, does this happen to everyone? And like, and maybe people tell you, yeah, that happens to everyone, but it doesn't. It doesn't. Not at the same rate. Not at the same rate. Because whenever I see the faces of the people, each time I see a face of them and I get to know that, they're like, or they comment, and then they like, the amount of you guys, all of y'all who are making videos, who are making music, who are making things, who are creating, like the people that I've been talking to, I didn't even realize, y'all. I didn't even realize. Like, and this is, you're being that good while still hiding how good you actually are. Isn't that wild? Oh my gosh, I'm getting like goosebumps. And maybe that's what you realized. Maybe that's what you realized. Is that you have been the best at something all along. And you have been better than people. But not in the way that they think. Just you've been better at being yourself. And that really offends people, because then they're like, well, I'm not doing that. I'm not being myself as much as I can be. And that's all you needed to do. That the rest is for them to figure out. The spiritual awakening and a dark night of a soul and all of that, it's everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people go through it. You went through it. You gone through multiple of them. You gone through a bunch of them. The way I had to look at you, because whenever I was like, I can't even tell you, when I have been getting like 10 hours of conversation with the trees, mind you. I don't even know how to explain it. I don't even know how to explain it. I was getting so many downloads from the trees. In the ether, in the astral, in the forever, in the heaven, in the, oh, I'm sweating so bad. Am I getting, oh, I don't have pit stains. I'm so surprised. But they were talking to me. They were talking to me. And they were telling me things like the amount of plot that has been laid for the prophecy that is you. I can't even tell you how, like, just to make sure that you have the right amount of scars on your body, so that whenever it's time to make sure and verify the barcode that is the body that is you, every tattoo that you have, every hair on your head, it's exactly the way, it's going to be exactly the way it's supposed to be, period. Moles may start appearing on your hand. These are new. I mean semi new. These are only a couple years old. This one has been forever. This one right here is the newest one that's starting to pop up. I go see a dermatologist. Just started happening. Then another one on a similar side, but on the opposite, started happening. Y'all can read my palms if you want, but you should read your palms if you're into palm reading. I don't know how to read palms, so the people. Ooh, they don't want me to say this. They do not want me to say this. That's really what it feels like. Okay, so look, I watch readers myself. I watch pastors and everything on here. Oh, my heart's getting so big. And they'll say stuff like that. They'll say stuff like they don't want, but like the way that whenever I kept trying to say, like whenever I say this line, this that I wrote down, you're gonna be like, huh. The people who go against you, you see their pain more than they do, which is why you never retaliate. People often misunderstand you, and sometimes stubbornly so. They know your guidance is correct, but they don't like that you found the answer first. Even though they saw that you're amazing, or even though they saw your amazing future, they still thought they were smarter than you and more worthy of your destiny. You can look up St. Elmo. Look up St. Elmo. Look up St. Elmo. I'll tell you a little bit about St. Elmo. He is the patron saint of safe ship passage and abdominal pain. The worst of the storm is almost over. That's what St. Elmo usually says. When people see, also St. Elmo's fire is a weather phenomenon that happens at the top of ship masts, where it'll start to glow blue, bluish green. It's like electrical something, blah blah blah. And that's just a technical term. So, and so that is for everyone on the ship. Period. And the first thing that I thought of whenever I thought of St. Elmo and if everyone on the ship, I thought of the slaves on the ship who would be able to see St. Elmo's fire and know that the worst of the storm is almost over. St. Elmo protects everyone on the ship, not just, it doesn't matter who you are. The worst of the storm is almost over. Stomach is the loudest messenger in your body. Your stomach does talk to you quite a bit. Not just with the food that you eat, but also with the people that you're about to meet, the things that are about to go on. But it's also, you haven't figured out the discernment all the way. Maybe you're figuring that discernment out now. But like, you might have like a really, and it might be because you're going to be hanging out with people who don't really like you. Or sometimes, like, I went to go visit a place and I started having like, and it was a very beautiful place. And I was like, I don't know what's going on here. It had something to do with slaves. It really did. And I was so confused because I was like, oh my gosh, like, I just couldn't quite figure it out. And then I go in to listen to the tour, and they talk about that place was a place where they were helping with abolishment of slavery. They hated slave owners and all that. So I was like, okay, well, let me look into my history. And on my white side, they were all pretty heavy slave runners. And I was not welcome. My blood was not welcome. And I wasn't able to acknowledge the stuff in my past or come into that area correctly, because I naturally was thinking, I'm here. And the reason why I feel this, it was both. It was a mixture of all of these things. And also, I don't even know if it's on my black side either, because majority of my family is African, not African American. And we call them Africans. We don't call them Africans. But it's very possible. I haven't looked anytime I Google our last name, it's like we have a history there, but it's like our name just kind of popped up out of nowhere in Africa. So maybe look into that. Look into your past. Reconcile what's going on in your DNA, because this is your world. This is your lore. This is your history. These are the things that you're meant to know about yourself. And sometimes we avoid learning about ourselves. We learn about so many other people easily because we've already learned that about ourselves, so it's easy to point it out to other people. But and what about you? Like, you're still here. Go do your work. I know that you're ahead of schedule in comparison to everybody else, but you don't know what curriculum they're on, and you don't know what curriculum you're on. You might be behind according to your curriculum, even though you're ahead of theirs. You dumbed yourself down, and you could be knowing a lot more, and knowing is nothing, honestly. But you could be comprehending a lot more. You could be a lot more in unity and impeccableness and pooping regularly because you know your body and enjoying so many things without it being something that you're afraid of losing. Ooh, girl. You don't gossip, and that makes people uncomfortable. You hear that you're right all the time, but you don't want to be right. You'd love to be proven wrong. But the disappointment was so loud, so big, because you care more than others. You're chill, but extremely sensitive. Nausea, electric, gorging lack. But it's true. You do not gossip. And whenever people ask you about something to gossip about, like, it's to the point where people know that they're like, hey, I'm not trying to gossip. I am trying to just know. And they're like, okay, awesome. So then you feel much more comfortable just saying your things because people, like, you've been explaining that to people now. Because there's been times in your life where you just let yourself be uncomfortable and let people gossip around you, and it hurts. And it's not fun. And you do not like it. And so now that you've been saying, I don't like that, and you're saying out loud, it's not that you've changed, you've been not liking it. I mean, there's times that you gossip. We all gossip a little bit, you know? But even whenever you're gossiping, you'll find yourself gossiping. You're like, I'm gossiping. Because you know it just doesn't actually do much for you. You know that it actually pains you more most of the time. It actually ends up hurting your psyche. It makes it to where you can't have a clear mind because you're still thinking about the thing that you said to the person to make sure that they also believe the thing that you believe. Whenever you aren't even sure if you believe that yet because you didn't spend enough time with it, with yourself, to see why it actually bothered you in the first place. Because why did it bother you in the first place? You know what I'm saying? And if you don't know why, then it just keeps on going. I know why I be getting upset. People love to think that I don't get upset, but baby, I get upset. I still have triggers. I love to be understood, but it's not something that I've experienced a lot of, and that's okay. I think I've been understood in the ways that people think that they're understanding me, but like, that's kind of part of it. Of course I'm not understood. I don't understand myself, just like I said before. And then as you start going through this journey, you start to realize, oh, I get to understand myself little by little. It doesn't have to be this huge amount of, I know everything about myself. And now I can make this part of my body cold and this part of my body hot just by feeling and thinking it. Whenever you're having these nauseas, whenever you're having these stomach things, and it's your stomach talking to you about a lot of stuff, it's your solar plexus, it's your chakras, or whatever, it's your fascia, whatever you need to call it. Because There's a lot of words for a lot of the same thing. It's all the same stuff, but we just use different languages. And sometimes even in the same language, we'll use a different word to explain the same thing. Like the other day, my partner was talking about how there is a species of deer that went extinct because their antlers just kept growing. And so then they weren't able to get the things that they needed, and so they starve out and die. And I think it was a philosopher that said this. And so he's quoting philosopher. And then that the human brain or the mind is similar to those antlers. And so what humans do is we chop off pieces of our antlers so then we can survive. So we can still eat, so we can still mate, so we can still have all the things that we're supposed to have and still function. Some of us let our antlers grow real big and then that takes over and now it's not doing very good. That's some philosopher's take on something, blah, blah, blah. My point is that the other day I was referencing it again after the other day had passed. And I was like, yeah, like the thing with the horns. And he was like, because it was a pretty direct translation. But I was like, with our minds, I was like, we could just cut off pieces of our horns. But I said horns and not antlers. And so he was like, horns, and he couldn't find the reference because antlers and horns are very different. They're very different shapes. They can go back like this for rams. They can go like this. But like for me, I am just like the things on the top of the head of the ruminant animals with hooves. But I'm just having a conversation, But also it might be needing to take, but it's like that's those using those same different words meaning the same thing, but can cause so much misunderstanding. So there's always a language barrier going on, and that's okay. Gosh, this is so long. This is so much longer than I expected. I like this, like literally I wrote it. I was planning to read just bloop, bloop, bloop. That's not very much, y'all. But then it just kept coming. So, I think I'm done. I think I said all the things that I need to say because I'm just like realizing how long it's been. So 32:23 on the clock when I look. So anyway, y'all have a beautiful day and much love.